guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Roxanne, and today I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite banned books. It's Banned Books Week, and there have been some amazing books that people, for whatever reason, have tried to ban from having their kids read or having them be in libraries, things like that. So I love reading banned books, and I love trying to find out why they were banned. So I'm very excited to see that I actually have a lot of books on my bookshelf that have at some point or another been banned or been challenged by a family group or whatever. And so I thought I would just go through them, and maybe you can find some books that you would like to read that have been banned or challenged, and things like that. And then at the end I'll talk about a readathon that I know is going on, and they're trying to read banned books this week, and they're trying to focus on reading diverse banned books. So I have a list of a couple that I found that you might want to read at some point. I've not read the last ones that I'm going to mention, but I definitely do want to get to them at some point, because obviously I just want to read as many banned books as I can. And so yeah, I'll go through them and I'll tell you just go over why they were banned. So up first is the Saga series, and this one apparently has been banned because it is anti-family, and because it has obscene language, and it has nudity, and it has sexuality. So you know, we don't want the kiddos reading that, or anyone, I guess. So they tried to ban this one. It's probably one of my favorite graphic novel series of all time. I definitely highly recommend it. It takes place in like outer space, and it's awesome, and it has great characters, so check this one out. Next is actually Persepolis, but I can't seem to find my copy anywhere. So that one was banned for gambling, offensive language, and the religious views that are shared and talked about in that book. And that's also, I believe that's a memoir in graphic novel form, and it's also very, very good, and I highly recommend it. I have only read the first part, so I definitely need to get to the second part as soon as I can, because I loved it. But you can find both parts in one everywhere, really. Up next is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. This one was banned because of the mentions of alcohol and drugs and homosexuality and sexual content. So this one's a great book. I read it, probably I was still in high school, or maybe like a freshman in college when I read this one, so I want to get to it again because I don't remember too much about it. I know they made a movie with Emma Watson in it, and the guy who's now going to be the Flash in the DC movies. So yeah, I want to get to this one again. Up next is The Hunger Games. This one, again, was banned because of the religious views that it portrays, and it's too violent, and it is, according to the people who tried to ban it, it is not suitable for the audience that it was supposedly marketed to and written for. So it's not suitable for young adults because of the violence and everything. Next is the classic that I'm sure we all guessed would be banned or challenged many, many times, and that's To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. This one apparently has offensive language and racism in it, or maybe those who tried to ban it were racist, who knows. So yeah, this one has been challenged a lot. Next is another one that's also been challenged a lot, and that's Forever by Judy Blume. This is like a coming-of-age story that talks about coming into your sexuality and deciding when you're ready to have sex for the first time or not, things like that. So for that, this has been banned many times or challenged many times. I've read this. I love Judy Blume. Her books were some of the first books that I ever read. So I've read this one back. I was probably still in middle school, maybe, or like a freshman in high school. So I read this a really long time ago. Probably might give it a reread. It's very short, and it's a very quick read. The text in it is gigantic, so you probably read this in one day. But this has been banned for sexual content. Then my favorite of all time, Harry Potter, has been challenged and banned, and every time that one of the new books came out, again, more people tried to ban it, because apparently it teaches about the occult and about witchcraft, and we don't want our youngins to learn witchcraft. I, for one, love reading books about witchcraft and love learning about things like the occult. So, whatever. I actually had people try to convince my parents not to let me read Harry Potter, but thankfully they were like, she knows enough to realize that she can't just pick up a stick and make things fly or whatever. She's mature enough to be able to read these books, and I thank them for that every day, because this is my favorite series of all time. I think this is an amazing series that everyone needs to read. It teaches so many wonderful things about friendship and about sticking together, and the things that can happen when you forget those things like love and friendship. And so I'm very thankful that my parents have always sort of let me read whatever I wanted and let me come to my own decisions about what I think about them. So Harry Potter, many family groups have tried to ban it. Screw 'em, I say. Up next is Speak by Laurie Halse Anderson. This is about the aftermath. It's about what a girl goes through after she has been raped, and so because of that, many people have tried to ban it. I read a quote that has said that they considered what it talked about to be soft porn. I don't know what kind of porn they're watching, if when it's talking about sexual assault they think porn. So I think they are the ones that need to take a look inside and see what the heck is wrong with them. But yeah, Speak, I read this not too long ago and I really enjoyed it, and I recommend it for young adults and for adult readers. I recommend it. It was really good. I really enjoyed it, and it has the National Book Award. It was a National Book Award finalist. Next is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I read this one back in high school and I really enjoyed it. This one has been banned due to its sexual content and its anti-religious views. If I remember correctly, this is about a society where women can no longer have babies as easily as we can now. Something to do with like the environment and things like that. And so the handmaids are essentially given to these prominent families for them to be the child bearers and give their children to these families so that they continue their name and their money and legacy and all of that. And so it's about one particular handmaid, and yeah, because of that sexual content that you do see in this book, a lot of people have tried to ban it. I think this is a book that a lot of people should read. I think I enjoyed it quite a lot. And as you can see, I have a lot of notes and stuff in them still from high school. I try not to remove those. I think I enjoy going through those every now and then. Up next is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. This one I don't think was banned, at least from the case that I read. It wasn't banned outright, because how funny would it be to ban a book about banning books, right? But they removed all the hells and damns in it, so they were just blacked out. And then there was apparently, I wrote these down, I took notes because, you know, I had to be prepared, because of the explicit language and the religious beliefs that it supposedly tries to get their readers to believe in and follow and all that nonsense. So this lady tried to prevent this from being taught at certain schools and from being put in the libraries. Okay. Up next is The Great Gatsby. This one's another one that I've tabbed and written. I don't like to write on my book, so there's just a bunch of little sticky notes everywhere. So The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald has been banned or challenged because of its sexual content, because of its explicit language, and just, I guess, the lifestyle that it portrays. It's during the Roaring 20s, so lots of partying, lots of drinking, all that good stuff, so they do not want kids reading about that. Then it's Flowers for Algernon. Algernon. I actually have not read this one yet. My boyfriend bought it for me because he read it and he loved it, and he's like, you have to read it, you have to read it. And so one day we were just at Books A Million, which is a store around here. I don't know if there are other states that have it. And he saw it. He's like, I'm gonna get it for you because you need to read it because it's amazing. And so I haven't read this one, so I can't say exactly what the people who tried to challenge and ban it saw, but from what I read, they perceived some of the scenes to be too sexually explicit, and so that's why they banned it, or they tried to challenge it. Then it's Eleanor and Park. I actually was reading that in whatever state it was that this lady was trying to ban these books from the libraries and from schools, Rainbow Rowell actually had an event at a library in that city and had to cancel it because of the whole controversy, because they thought it was too sexually explicit and had too much language, too much explicit language that they didn't want their kids to read about. I read this one. It's not my favorite Rainbow Rowell, but I did enjoy it. It definitely has language in it. It has explicit language in it, but I'm very against banning books of any kind. I think that people need to be taught to read critically and to make their own decisions. So if your kids are reading this, then take that as an opportunity to sit down with them and explain to them the things that go on in this book and the language and things like that. But whatever, people sometimes, I guess, like to avoid having those conversations with their kids, which I think is a problem. But whatever, I'm not a mom, so whatevs. Up next is The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skloot. Read this one a couple weeks ago, and I enjoyed it. And it talks about this woman, Henrietta Lacks, whose DNA was taken without her consent, essentially, and it turns out that she has what it's called, I believe, immortal cells. They just essentially continue to reproduce and don't ever die. So there has been so many medical advances made through the use of her cells, and so it's about the effects of that on her family and how her family really have never been able to benefit from it. They can't even afford to go to the doctor a lot of times, but yet these researchers and these scientists have made incredible discoveries which have led to millions of dollars being made, and their family hasn't seen any of that. And so it's about the racism of the time and sexism, and how this was very popular to do in like the full 50s. Yeah, 1951. A lot of people trusted their doctors, and they sort of just did what they were told without questioning it, because these were people of authority, these were people who had been educated, and so you're supposed to trust them. And a lot of times they took advantage of that for their own gain. And so they talks about all of that, and it's a very good book, but some ladies seemed to take it as being pornographic. Again, I don't know what the heck she was reading, but I think the author responded and said, I think she's confusing pornography with gynecology, essentially. So I thought that was funny. You should read this book. It's pretty good. Yeah, it was a New York Times bestseller. Up next is what I'm currently reading. I'm still currently reading this. I don't know why it's taking me so long. I just keep getting distracted, honestly. But the autobiography of Malcolm X, as told to Alex Haley, who wrote Roots, if I'm not mistaken. So this one has been banned for its anti-white sentiments and its language, and how some people have said it is a how-to manuscript, I guess, on how to be a criminal. Whatever. This is very good. Everyone should read it. I think especially with the things that are going on, this is still very relevant. So you should go ahead and read it. I am 350 pages in. I'm hoping I'll get to the epilogue in like 2 chapters, so hopefully I can get through with it today. But read this one. It's very good. and other people don't want you to read it, so what better reason to read it, right? Up next is The House of the Spirits by Isabel Allende. This one has been challenged because of its sexual content and its violence. Again, I read this one back in high school, and you can see all of my little tabs. This one I enjoyed, but I don't really remember anything about it, so I want to get to it again soon, especially since it's also Hispanic Heritage Month. We'll see if I can get to it, but this is another one that's been banned. 1984, my boyfriend's favorite book of all time, I think, by George Orwell. This one has been banned because it is said to be pro-communist, and it has, let's see what else, it has sexual content, and it is immoral. So sometimes it feels like we're living in his world, so I would definitely go ahead and read this one and see what you think. Another high school read for me is As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. He is actually my high school English teacher's favorite author, so we read this one. Again, more tabs. This one was banned because of its mentions of reincarnation and abortion, and its mentions of because of its obscene scenes, and because it uses God's name in vain. There you have it. Lord of the Rings has been banned as well, or challenged. I don't know if they were ever successful, but because of its fantasy ideas and its sacrilegious beliefs. I've read The Hobbit and I really enjoyed it, and I bought all 4 at the same time in like a box set, and I haven't been able to get to these 3 just yet, just because I keep getting distracted with other books that I want to read just a little bit more. I do love the movies though. So yeah, just because of that, I probably want to go and rewatch these movies, because, you know, of all the sacrilegious beliefs. The Scarlet Letter. I read this one back in freshman year, I think, in high school. It's one of those literary touchstone classics with like the very textbooky looking covers, and it has like questions in the back and glossaries and whatnot. So yeah, I read this one a long time ago and I really enjoyed it actually. And this one has been banned because of its sexual content, its religious beliefs, and because apparently they thought that the author was too nice to the protagonist. Well, you can decide that for yourself. Have a go at this one, The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. So now for some other books that I found. Now I wrote these down again because, you know, I tried to be prepared. So these are banned books that have diverse content in them. I don't have any of these, or I would have shown you, but those are, and I just have a couple here. The Absolute True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. I've always wanted to read that one. I've seen it so many times in the clearance section, and I just don't know why I don't pick it up, but I'll probably pick that one up soon at some point. But yes, that one has been banned, as well as The Beloved, The Bluest Eye, and Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison. I'm sure probably some of her other books have been challenged as well. I almost picked up Beloved, I think, a couple of weeks ago, maybe like 2 weeks ago, when I was trying to figure out my TBR for Diversithon, but I think I found another one that was a little bit cheaper. So I went for that one because I was trying not to spend so much money, even though I still spent like 40 bucks in books. But whatever. Those are definitely on my to-read list for probably January, maybe. We're almost to the end of the year, so not too long from now. Habibi by Craig Thompson. That's another one that I really want to get to soon. I see it all the time. And I want to read that one. The Color Purple by Alice Walker. I've seen it a lot recently in a lot of people's TBRs or hauls, and it's making me want to read it a lot. Back in high school, we had an assignment where our teacher gave us like 6 different books, and you were to pick one and read it during the summer and like write a report on it or something. And for some reason I chose The Old Man and the Sea, which I found so boring, So I really wish I would have chosen the color purple because I'm pretty sure that was an option. Silly me. I Am Jazz by Jessica Herthel and Jazz Jennings. I believe she has a reality show about her life as a transgender teenager called I think it might also be called I Am Jazz. I have not seen it, but I've seen the book everywhere, and I would want to read it at some point. Mexican White Boy, I think I heard Marina's talk about this one in her Hispanic Heritage Reads book. That one is by Matt de la Peña. I definitely put that one on my to-read list, and we'll hopefully get to it soon. I know I keep saying that a lot, but I will. I really want to get to these soon. And then last but not least, and definitely this is not a comprehensive list, is I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. That is I've never read any of her work, and that is one that I definitely need to read because I think she is an incredibly important literary figure who everyone needs to read at some point. Especially that one is, like, I think a lot of people's one of a lot of people's favorite books of all time. So I definitely need to read that. So if you've read any of these banned books, please let me know what you thought about them. Please let me know how outrageous you think it is that some of these books have been banned, or that any of these books have been banned or challenged. What are your favorite banned or challenged books? And if you have any other recommendations besides the ones that I read, just from the ones that you saw, if you think that I would like another banned or challenged book, please let me know down below. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.